So how is your apartment actually valued? This is a very good question, because if you don't have the right value, how can you make the best decision for you? Do you sell? Do you hold? Do you take that offer? Do you take that offer? You know, that kind of thing. So what I thought I'd do is talk to you briefly about how we actually come to the market value estimation of your apartment. Now, we do it very similar to the way a registered valuation is done through the bank, except for one difference. We're not looking backwards, we're looking right at the present day, and we're also looking forwards. That's why a registered valuation from the bank will often be a little bit out of date and often undervalued. So what I thought I'd do is I'd take you through very briefly on the science or the expertise behind how we come to your market value, and I hope this helps. So here we are valuing 12A at 97 Shortland Street at the Shortlands Apartments. Now, there are only 29 apartments in this complex, and the first thing you do when valuing an apartment is you're looking for apartments that are exactly the same. And with apartments, that's generally in the same building. So the first thing you do is you look at sales statistics, the previous sales in this building of units that are exactly the same. But this is where most agents go wrong, because it's not just about the sales in this building. Now, you can see these ticks here. What these ticks are is, being an apartment specialist, you're looking at other comparable buildings that are very similar to gauge value. Because when you think about it, when there's over 150 apartments selling each month, there's about 450 other apartment buildings, and there's 26,500, soon to hit about 30,000 plus apartments in the CBD and the fringes. How can one building of 29 apartments give you a complete gauge on value? So this is where we'll look at these other buildings. So here you can see this is Metropolis, this is Connaught, Tower Hill, etc. And these are all buildings that I've looked at and gone, okay, this is very similar to the Shortlands Apartments, which is here. So I'll look at these apartments and see what this is selling for. And that's where a lot of expertise comes in, because you've got to actually know your stock, you've got to know your market, you've got to know your buildings. But first of all, we go back, and this is a really good example, because we'll look at the sales statistics. So you could see we're looking at 12A, and you can see there was a sale price of $750,000, there was a sale price of $735,000, and these are exactly the same apartments, just, you know, this one's right below. But how come I put a box here saying these apartments are actually worth $850,000 plus, depending on the level? Well, it's because I know I've looked at other buildings in the area and seen that similar apartments are selling for more. And so I've looked at these ones here. And that's when, so I'll show you an example. So we'll go to Tower Hill, which is about 200 metres away from the Shortlands Apartments, very similar, and look at a recent sale in there. So you can see here 4F, lower down, probably not as good a view, and I can see it sold for $871,000. Now, I know the Tower Hill has got slightly better location, but other than that, it's not that different. But here you can see it's even smaller, and it does have a car park. So that tells me instantly those sales statistics is not the information you should be giving to the owner. Yes, you should give that information to the owner, but you should be explaining to them of other sales statistics, making them aware of that their apartment is worth a lot more than they think it is. So what I did is I actually got a valuation from Seegers and Partners. Now, these are the top apartment valuators for all the banks, and so that's especially the value in this case, that's all he does. And that's what he does, he looks at different apartments. So you can see here it came up with the apartment we're looking at, and he came up with a value of $910,000. So how can that be? That is over almost $200,000 more than the sales statistics, and that's because of the same expertise. Now, when I'm looking at this apartment, I was looking at the specific apartment, I'll be probably valuing that about $950,000, because the thing is, the difference with valuers is they have to look backwards to look forwards. And being an apartment specialist, because we know every single sale that's happening every single day, I know of other sales that had occurred while he's doing that valuation. Now, I hope this has helped you understand what being an apartment specialist is all about. Now, if you'd like to know the value of your asset or your apartment, just fill in the details below. And remember, we don't even have to go into your apartment or disturb your tenant, because we've got all the floor plans, and obviously because this is what we do, we know all the buildings inside out. Andrew Murray, Auckland's leading apartment specialists. Cheers.